like you and I, this is our first season of ever watching Hard Knocks. But I think these are the things that probably make it really exciting and really entertaining is to see that camaraderie built up, right? Dan said as much as like, this is what training camp is for. It's for building the brotherhood. And that's probably one of the more exciting things or more entertaining things to see is like Aidan Hutchinson is a rookie, right? And this could have just easily just been a rookie hazing moment where he just has to get up there and sing and the team laughs at him. Or like not laughs at him, but laughs at like, you know, like, oh, this is a funny moment. But like to see the team like buy in and start singing with him and like he's dancing and like the same with Malcolm Rodriguez, right? Like they just go for it. And to your point earlier about it, I think it does kind of stem from Dan wanting his players to be themselves and to feel comfortable in front of their teammates and around their coaches and to just be themselves at all times and not feel like they have to be something that they're not.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think with that attitude is Dan Campbell's not going to make this team something that it's not. And I think that's one thing that has always impressed me about Dan Campbell as a coach is the way the philosophy finds its way into every aspect of the game, the game plan, you know, the trick plays, the things he was doing against the Rams in order to just give us a chance against a much clearly superior team. He knew he was going to have to do whatever it took, and he did. And so that speech at the beginning, he talked about the majority of teams don't even go in the water. And then there's the shallows, and there's a bunch of teams in the shallows, and teams will claw and to get deep, to get you behind them. And there's only about 4 teams in the deep end. And it was just so great that he said into the abyss. And he said there's only about 4. And then, you know, that's our goal is to, you know, paddle out there and get drown the other teams. So that just seems like the embodiment of so many things that they're working with. And I have to credit him with the singing with Rodriguez, with the camaraderie. All of it is sort of encased within the sphere of his core philosophy of grit. And it was great to see, you know, there were moments where Calvin Shepard was doing his own thing with the linebackers, and he was saying it in his own way, but he was talking about grit. And then Deuce Staley was talking with Swift or talking with someone, and he was saying it in his own way, but in essence, what he was talking about was grit. And I loved that moment of him going into the room. What was it? What was the first one? Something Dreams Love. What was the first one?
Oh, I do not remember what the first word was. The second was dreams, and then the last one was love. Oh man, I do not remember.
I shouldn't have brought it up if I couldn't have thought of all 3. Deuce would make me do up downs.
Oh, that was another cool moment from the episode too. Is like Dan doing the up downs, like him, like Dan's reaction and Aidan's reaction to like, oh, we were doing those in a row, like. And that's I kept like as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do 10. And then I was like, oh no, they're gonna do 20, 30, 40. Like what are you like? Up downs suck. Like they are up downs alone made me want to quit football. Like that like that alone it is a punishment in football for a reason, because it sucks. It is the worst thing to do in football, especially when you're in pads. It's terrible.
Yeah. But another thing Scott and I touched on it last week was Deshaun Elliott's response about what age Aubrey Pleasant does with going back to the fundamentals and my experience with my old teacher and how she let that inform every aspect of like the growth from there on out. Yeah. And I can really see why these players will just run through a wall for these coaches with going back to Deuce Staley, like talking about growing as men. and there's nothing wrong. You should absolutely be able to look to the man to your left and look to the man to your right and say, I love you. And like that's not weakness, that's strength. And then he immediately goes, Aaron Glenn, I love you. He's like, I'm going to fuck you up between the lines, but I love you. And, but yeah, and I think just that growth of like, you know, yeah, it's just growing as people, as you know, we talked about this whole mind, body, spirit connection.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not sure if any of the coaches would ever, you know, phrase it like that. But it really seems like, again, they're using their own language, but it really seems like that's what they are driving home. And I think that really does come from Dan Campbell.